The Salkantay trek is a 70-kilometer route to Machu Picchu, a more rugged alternative to the Inca Trail. Climbing to 4,600 meters beneath glaciers before dropping into the edge of the Amazon. We recently spent 2 weeks in Peru, where we tackled the trek over 5 days on a group trip we were hosting in partnership with Vagabond Trails. This was my second time to Peru, and while I had visited Machu Picchu before, it was only by train, right in the middle of the rainy season. Returning now in shoulder season would be a bit of a gamble in terms of what the weather might bring, but the constantly changing terrain and the people who came along made it a week worth capturing. And I'll show you highlights from all of that now in this episode of Time on Feet. We started by flying into Lima, where we spent the night exploring the city, before continuing on to Cusco the following day. Cusco sits high in the Andes at 3,400 meters, more than 11,000 feet. A blend of Inca foundations and Spanish colonial architecture. It's colorful, chaotic, and a great place to acclimate before heading higher into the mountains. The first thing we did was head out for a run to explore the city and begin to acclimate. Cusco is a city of nearly 500,000 people, driven mostly by tourism, and it serves as a gateway to almost every major trek in the area, from the Inca Trail to Salkantay.
What do you think? I think it goes.
After a couple of days on our own, it was finally time to meet up with the group.
Pleased to be here and really excited. It's my second time working with these two rock stars, so I'm really happy.
Fernando would be joining us again as one of our guides, who we first worked with last year in Ecuador. After our initial briefing, we went out for a welcome dinner and a celebratory pisco sour. What do you think?
That is nice.
Yeah. The next day, some of the runners in the group joined us for a run around the city.
Feels so much better than yesterday already. I don't know.
You're adapting.
I haven't.
Then we all hit the road for some sightseeing.
And then when we toast this, we call the Inca candy. Usually, bring us snacks when they.
Peru has an unreal amount of biodiversity when it comes to food, including thousands of varieties of potatoes, and more types of corn than you'll find almost anywhere else in the world. Llamas and alpacas are everywhere in the Andes, used for wool, meat, and as pack animals.
The head, my friends, is the most delicious part of the guinea pig.
And if you're feeling brave, guinea pig is still served as a traditional delicacy.
You look so ridiculous.
We spent the rest of the day and the following one visiting archaeological sites around the Sacred Valley, where we learned about the two main types of Inca construction, including one built entirely without mortar. And now that the rest of the group had had a chance to acclimate, the next day would mark the start of the trek.
Oh, guinea pig's good, a little gamey, but glad I tried it. Yeah, the dark meat maybe is better. Oh.
We were up at 2:30 so that we could hit the road by 3 to start the long drive to our trailhead. How's that car ride for you?
It's a little bumpy. I tried to sleep, but you're just like going like this all the time. But I didn't get sick though.
Good. So that was a very early morning. We left the hotel just after 3 a.m. And it's because we had to get past a road closure that was happening at about 6 a.m. We just made it here, just finishing up breakfast now as well. And then we're gonna hit the road again to finish the rest of the drive. But it's a beautiful morning. The clouds are parting now. You can see the mountains over there. I think we're gonna have a pretty good day for our first day on the trail.
Ready? Do it. Vamos.
The first leg of the trek follows a gradual climb alongside an ancient Inca water canal that still carries melt water down the valley, supplying nearby communities even today. The clouds finally started to break, giving us a view of Humantay towering high above the valley, while Salkantay remained mostly obscured.
We can see Salkantay peeking through.
Yeah, first eyes on Salkantay.
Down from the valley, it's kind of like a peeking out. That is our final destination.
Okay, so you can see the town that we're heading to. That's our destination for today, or at least for this afternoon. And then from there, we're gonna do an out and back up to a lake, and then back to the town where we're spending the night.
What does mean Salkantay? Means this is savage. Salkantay, this is savage. Why is that? Because this mountain in the whole region, in terms of the avalanche rate, has the highest one. Salkantay is the second highest mountain in Cusco State, around 20,600 feet. So, or like 6,200 meters above sea level. This was summited for first time by American, Swiss, and Peruvian team in 1985. We got a 5 success summit. We got a lot of people trying, but we got a lot of fails as well. But in the last years, like in the 7 years ago, the classic rounds, a huge avalanche was wiped out. So nowadays we need to find a new trail in the east or from the northern side, because the south part in general is the zone of the avalanche as well.
Oh, wow.
It's so nice, eh? We just made it to our home for the night. We are at Sky Camp. It looks really cool. Those domes are so neat. And so right now they have tarps over all of them, but they all have glass ceilings, which is really cool. We'll be able to see the stars, but they are required to keep the tarps on during the day to prevent the light pollution that comes from the reflection of the sun, basically, on the glass. So we have about an hour to kill here. Maybe we'll unpack a couple of things, repack our backpacks. We'll have lunch here at the hut at 11:30, and then we'll do an afternoon hike up to an alpine lake.
That was a really nice first day on the trail. We had great weather, and the hike up to the lake was the cherry on top. It was a tough climb though, added about 500 meters, but it was definitely worth it. We got a little bit of rain after that, but the skies did eventually clear. And now we have completely unobstructed views of the surrounding mountains, including Salkantay, which we'll be seeing a lot more of tomorrow as we continue to hike up the valley there. But for now, we're just waiting for dinner here, and then we're gonna head to bed nice and early to catch up on our sleep, because we've got a really long day on the trail tomorrow.
Wow, thank you. They're adorable too. Hot water bottle.
Nice.
Eggs, fruit. Oh, looks delicious.
Right. 1, 2, 3, battle!
Okay, here we go. Day 2. Today's going to be a long one, about 24 kilometers, and we're going to be climbing up quite high through Salkantay Pass, something like 15,000 feet. Salkantay is completely clear up ahead, so let's just hope this lasts.
Stunning morning. Pretty lucky.
How are you feeling?
I feel good.
Yeah. You feel acclimated?
No.
Yeah.
Flat is no problem. As soon as it's uphill, it's
Yeah.
definitely still a struggle, but I feel good this morning. My headache's gone.
Good.
Slept pretty well. Morning traffic.
Yeah, rush hour.
Yeah.
So we're sort of heading into the wet season now. It's shoulder season. Of course, heading into summer down here in the southern hemisphere. And it's still quite busy, but you could imagine how busy this would be in the dry season. Salkantay doesn't require permits, so there are no limits to the number of people who can do the trail. We always try to travel and do these kind of things during shoulder season. Weather can be a risk, but it's safe to say that so far on this trip, the gamble is paying off. Just look at that.
Little break here, and then looks like maybe a couple hundred more meters, and then we'll be at the pass.
All right, final push. Well, we made it to the pass. So we're gonna stop here for maybe 15, 20 minutes and regroup. Everybody's gonna put on their layers because it's pretty cold up here. No views. We're definitely up in the clouds, but you know, we were spoiled on the way up here with some incredible views, so you can't have it all. So this is coca tea. Helps with the altitude. You can chew coca leaves as well. It tastes delicious. It definitely does help. Helps with your appetite if you have a headache. But you got to be careful because it will potentially make you fail a drug test. So depending on what your job is, you may want to skip this one.
It's all downhill from here for today.
Here we go. So this river valley, it looks all kind of washed out, and that's actually from a huge slide that happened in 2020. A mass of rock fell off of Salkantay that landed in a lake below, and that caused a massive wave, which then came and swept down the valley here and killed, I believe, 13 people with it. Now, as tragic as that was, it wasn't during trekking season. It was in February, so the trail was closed to trekkers. Otherwise, there would have been hundreds more people walking down this valley, and it could have been a lot worse. Oh, yeah.
It's poncho color, like they were spray painted.
Hey, bud.
The second 10 it's for the backpack, and the first 10...
We stopped for a quick lunch and some tea before heading back out into the rain to finish our descent. Okay, we're all fed, hydrated. We've got about 10 kilometers left to the end of our day at camp, and we're going to be dropping about 800 meters, I believe. So, ponchos ready.
Yeah, we're the poncho gang.
Vámonos! Show! Sweated! Woo! Let's do it. We got it.
Good to see you, ponchos, hey?
Poncho day.
It's amazing how quickly the vegetation is changing here as we drop down into the jungle. And it's going to be quite warm as we progress here tomorrow.
Exactly. If it will be sunny tomorrow, we're expecting 35 degrees or
Wow.
95 degree Fahrenheit. Humidity up to 60%, you know, so like the music said, welcome to the jungle.
We'd reached the cloud forest, the humid transition zone between the Andes and the Amazon, where warm air from the jungle meets cold air from the mountains, creating the constant mist that makes this one of the most biodiverse places in the country. Game on. Well, this looks like our home for the night here. Just about a kilometer and a half, about a mile to go. Okay, we have arrived.
This looks so nice.
Yeah.
We're very spoiled. I'm excited to see what our hut looks like.
Yeah, let's go see.
Good job.
Gracias. Okay, so now we grab our bags from over here. We have bag transfer services. These arrived by horseback. We were given these duffel bags basically as the total volume we're allowed to carry. There's obviously a limit because again, they are coming by horseback, but it fits plenty in terms of spare clothing and, you know, toiletries and stuff for at night. And these look to be our homes for tonight. So let's go check them out now.
This is spectacular.
Yeah.
Check this out. We got this huge bedroom with epic views. And this time we have privacy blinds. Well, only on the sides. And then big bathroom.
Oh, nice. Private. Whoa.
Yeah, it's huge. With power, nice big sink, our private shower.
Okay, here we go. Day 3, 17 kilometers, and it's all downhill. Gracias.
Okay, you can barely stay up.
How are you feeling now that we're, 1,000 meters lower? Yeah.
Oh, so much better. When you're up there at above 4,000, let's say, it's like one big lungful is not enough. In fact, 2 or 3, it's never enough. But my headache's gone. I'm in good company, and I'm loving this this little hike along these epic mudslides.
It's a really nice little simple track here for a bit.
Yeah.
Feels very jungly. For now, the temperature is really good too. Those clouds are shielding us from the sun, which is nice.
Every time that I stopped to fly my drone, it meant having to run to catch up with the rest of the group. Although, I'll admit, it was a good excuse to stretch out the legs from time to time. Until about 25 years ago, the Inca Trail was the only established route to Machu Picchu. But once the government began strictly regulating access and working exclusively through licensed tour operators, trekkers started looking for alternatives. And that's when the Salkantay route really took off. Today, the economy in this region relies almost entirely on tourism.
Hey, no. If this family wanna go to the city, to the school, hospital, how they cross? My friends, cable car. Today we're going to see every single family who lives in this side. They use these types of transportation.
You wouldn't have got across now. Yeah. Sadly, we didn't get to cross the cable car, opting for a bridge a little further downriver instead. Well, we're back on the road, but that trail was really cool. What was that, about 6 kilometers of single track, some beautiful waterfalls. Apparently the trail actually does continue. In the dry season, it's safe to continue, but unfortunately now as we head into the rainy season, there are some washouts. So we're back on the road now.
And we stopped for coffee and some snacks, and I think best coffee I've had on the trail so far.
Really?
This is just like the Alps.
Camping Granadilla.
Yes, let's get a little
Thank you.
Please. This is the delicacy And you eat just the inside part, huh?
Nice. We tried this in Ecuador
Yeah.
last year, I remember.
Oh yeah, careful. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, you wouldn't want to slide down there.
Well, we're gonna hop in a van now. This is the end of our hiking for the day. I believe we're going to a coffee farm to get a coffee tour. And then we'll go to our campsite for the night, have a lunch, and then we have the afternoon free to go check out some hot springs.
We were on our way to a communal coffee plantation where farmers grow their beans under the natural shade of the forest canopy. The cloud forest offers near-perfect growing conditions, filtered light, steady humidity, and cool nights that help the beans develop slowly and evenly. With stronger UV radiation at this elevation, the canopy protects the plants from the harsh sun, while the nutrient-rich mountain soil gives the beans much of their flavor. Who's ready for some coffee?
Always.
Audrey's ready for some coffee.
So in the world, you guys can find 150 different types of the variation of the plants. Okay?
Breathe in, man. Put some breathe in.
Don't stop, okay? Moving the hips. Sexy crecimiento y adentro.
A little tart, which I like.
We've arrived at our campsite.
So we just got to our third campsite. It's in the middle of the jungle. Here we have lost about 2,000 meters from our highest pass.
Yeah.
And you can feel it in the weather.
Oh yeah.
We can smell the jungle and feel a little bit of the heat. This is a transition zone, so basically this connects the Andes, the high mountains, with the jungle. As soon as you keep lowering altitude, every 500 meters you gain 2 degrees in temperature. So it makes a really biodiverse place to see animals, to see different plants, and even to crop coffee. So amazing place to be and to explore.
What do you think?
Pretty incredible to see, and just a whole change of scenery from being in mountains yesterday to now just being in the rainforest is incredible.
Knock knock.
Wow, this is so nice.
Yeah.
Epic room. Stop it.
We spent the rest of the afternoon at the nearby hot springs before dinner and another early bedtime. Well, it's Friday morning. It's 5:30. We were up at about 4:30, had breakfast at 5, and we're trying to get out of here by about 5:45. Another long one today, about 25 kilometers with a fair bit of climbing. It rained really hard last night. You could hear it most of the night, just pouring rain, but fortunately it stopped by the time we woke up, and I think today is actually going to be a pretty nice day.
Bueno, amigos, buenos días. Good morning, my dear friends. Thank you for visiting Cusco.
We said goodbye to our cooks who had traveled with us up until this point, and started the last leg of the trek, a stretch of Inca Trail leading us to the town of Aguascalientes.
We found trails from Colombia running all the way down to the Patagonia. Around 40,000 kilometers or 20,000 miles of the trail in South America. So today we're going to have that chance to walk in those amazing Inca trails.
So we're on the Inca Trail now.
We're on the Inca Trail, going to Machu Picchu. So Machu Picchu has 7 trails, and this is one of the official entries. Back in the days, like the Incas.
Final push here to our summit. We've got about another 180 meters to climb, and then it's mostly downhill.
Nice spot for camping.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
This is an archaeological site. This used to be an Inca observatory. So if you see that way, you can find Machu Picchu.
Based on the archaeological evidences, humans arrived to Central America around 25,000 years ago, to South America around 20,000 years ago.
What do we got here? Ooh, look at that.
Wow.
Okay, now that is Machu Picchu. Just beautiful. And you can see up on the right, that's where we're going to be summiting. That's Machu Picchu mountain. It's an optional summit, but I think most of the group is going to do that tomorrow as well. Just spectacular.
So beautiful.
Just sitting there patiently.
She's waiting for a moment.
Yeah.
Definitely waiting for a moment.
I'm gonna wear him down and they'll get in and give me food.
When he's not watching.
Oh
Look at his little face.
Where's the brother?
His little face. Let's just take him home.
Oh.
Just take him home. Put him in your backpack.
The next tree.
Yeah, a little bouncy.
We'd entered the historic sanctuary of Machu Picchu, so that would be it for the drone. Sure feel the heat down here in the valley,
So
hey?
hot, yeah. Don't feel any breeze from that river,
No.
unfortunately.
Back in the jungle. So our guide JC was just explaining that these banana trees here, bananas take about 8 or 9 months to grow, and then the fruit lasts for about a month when you can harvest it. So it's about 10 months for the complete life cycle, because as soon as you harvest bananas once from this tree, you have to cut it down. They only produce fruit once in their life. The The last 10 kilometers or so would follow the train tracks the rest of the way to Aguascalientes, flat and thankfully mostly shaded. Walking down the train tracks, I'm having flashbacks to the movie Stand By Me. These guys are all too young though. Okay. We have arrived here in Aguascalientes, our home for the night. And I was here the last time I was in Peru, and it was in the rainy season. And I remember this river just being crazy, just raging. It's much more calm today. Wow.
All right, let's go for Machu Picchu.
We were up bright and early to catch the first buses to Machu Picchu, and our tickets meant we'd be one of the first groups to enter.
First of all, what does mean Machu Picchu is a Quechua language, means old mountain. But based on the carbon data, Machu Picchu was built around 1420. They took around 70 to 80 years in order to build this archaeological site. So we found like a 210 enclosures. We expecting between the sites, between 2 to 4 people able to live. So we're expecting around 500 people in the regular time, but in the special festivals, you know, like a celebrations around like 1,000 people. So that was the max capacity of the Machu Picchu.
Oh, excuse me. Watch out, guys, stampede.
You going through? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's get through.
The archaeologists, the Peruvian archaeologists, they found another structure which is not belong to the Incas, belong to the pre-Inca cultures, which is called Quilques. So that means when the Pachacutec arrived in the 1400s, they colonized the Quilques. When the Pachacutec arrived, when he wanna build such a mega structure, he was looking for 2 important ingredients. In that mountain, they found 6 natural springs. The second material, the whole Rocky Mountains is full of the white granite, easy to get the material. So the Incas, they didn't bring the rocks from different places. They found here in situ from the same mountains. The function of the Machu Picchu been changing depending who was the ruler. They said maybe Machu Picchu was a religious place, astronomical observatory center. Few they said like a political administrative center. Few said, for example, for the king number 12, Machu Picchu used to be like a summer palace as well. So used to have so many different functions.
Okay, we've begun the climb up Machu Picchu mountain. About 500 meters of elevation gain, and hopefully these clouds burn off and we have a beautiful view from the summit. Machu Picchu now receives more than 1.5 million visitors annually, and regulations cap daily entry at around 5,000 people, depending on the time of year. Oh, it is so humid. Just sweating buckets. Meanwhile, permits from Machu Picchu Mountain are capped at about 350 hikers each day, so it feels far less crowded than the citadel below. It's cool. Oh, some blue sky. Well, on a sunny day, you would have 360 views all around here from the summit, but not today. Still totally worth the effort. As always. Okay, time to head down. The clouds continued to clear, and honestly, the view seemed to only get better as I descended. But we had to make it back for a late lunch in Aguascalientes, before catching an afternoon train back to Cusco. Well, back to Cusco.
Back to Cusco already. Just kidding, that was a long trip. It went by fast, but you know, it's been 5 days.
The safety of our passengers is of utmost concern.
So ended another amazing adventure. But our time in Peru wasn't over just yet. After saying goodbye to the group and spending a couple of more days in Cusco, Audrey and I headed out on our own for a 3-day fast-packing adventure to Choqquequirao, Machu Picchu's sister site, thought to be up to 3 times the size, even though less than 40% has been uncovered. It's so remote that it sees barely a dozen visitors a day. But you'll have to wait for that film, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you'd like to learn about some of the gear that I used, then check out my episode of The Mudroom featuring the Janji Revi 18-liter pack that I used. It served as my carry-on, my hiking pack, and my fast pack for Choqquequirao as well. I'll link to that in the description below.